And we are tracking the tropics in this Local 10 halftime report. Hello to you, South Florida. I'm Larry Livingston.
I'm Sanella Sabovic, and before we begin, it's important for us to note that you will not be missing a moment of this football game. Meantime, the cone has shifted. All eyes on Ian as South Florida slowly makes its way out of the tropical storm's path. Forecasters predicting Ian could hit Northwest Florida as a hurricane in the next few days.
And we have live team coverage. Our Roy Ramos is standing by in the Florida Keys, and hurricane specialist and storm surge expert Michael Lowry is also here tracking Ian.
But first, we begin with Chief Certified Meteorologist Betty Davis with a new advisory that just came in. Betty, fill us in.
Hi, everyone. Well, Ian has not gotten any stronger this afternoon. Maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. It's moving west at 15 miles per hour and centered 255 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica. It's forecast to pass well south of Jamaica on tomorrow, so Jamaica no longer under a tropical storm watch. Also, check out the forecast track, which takes it near or just west of the Cayman Islands on Monday, and then come Tuesday near or over western Cuba. And take note of this intensity forecast. It's still forecast to rapidly intensify. We're looking at a Category 3 hurricane based on this forecast as it's coming from the northern Caribbean Sea, heading into the southern Gulf of Mexico, and then apparently destined for a landfall somewhere along the west coast of the Florida Peninsula or the northern Gulf Coast. And Michael, I know all the people at home, they are looking at the models. They have noticed that westward shift and obviously noticing that at least our area is outside of the cone. Talk about what all of this means.
Yeah, Betty, there's no doubt that this has been a good news story for us today, but just because we're out of the cone doesn't mean we're all in the clear. I want to talk a little bit about the cone first. As Betty was just pointing out, the new forecast, really scary forecast here for parts of the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Thankfully, the cone has been trending to the north and to the west of us. If you look at the previous forecast cones, you can see we were in the cone. We were squarely in the cone as you go back to yesterday and especially yesterday morning, but today that again trending to the north and to the west. Now, what does the cone mean? What is it telling us? Well, it's the most likely place that the center of this tropical system will go. It doesn't mean that you can't experience impacts outside the cone. In fact, in 1 in 3 forecasts, we get a storm that falls outside of the cone, and obviously with bigger hurricanes, you can get big impacts outside of the cone. So we're going to want to keep a close eye to this, but for now, the trend has certainly been our friend. As you look at the visible satellite picture right now, we had a Hurricane Hunter plane that flew out from St. Croix, has been flying around all afternoon. This is a system that's not really all that well organized. It's still forming right now, even though the upper level outflow is getting better. It's looking more organized. We're still tracking a few little centers swirling around right in here. But if we turn to the water vapor picture, last few days we've been talking about this with you. The upper level outflow of this, very impressive. You can see winds that are flowing out from the north, flowing out from the south. That is telling us that there is very good ventilation with this system. It's allowing the thunderstorms to breathe. And as this moves into the western Caribbean, it's going to hit a real pocket of very warm waters, very favorable winds. And that's why the Hurricane Center is forecasting very quick strengthening with this, unfortunately, as it turns up toward the United States. When you look at the forecast models right now, you can see that they are favoring the west here. We still have some that are coming down toward the Florida Peninsula, Central Florida Peninsula, but right now we're seeing a more gradual turn, Betty, as this gets into the northern Gulf. This is a big story, though. This is a potentially big impact here for parts of the western part of Florida, but for now, we'll continue to look at those good trends and be thankful for them.